Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie, and this is Shaman Memoirs today for another podcast. And just so you guys also know, I am looking for other people who are interested in coming on just to share your own experience, whether you are a practicing shaman, you're about to be, you've been doing it forever, you're tired of it, or if you are also inclined and, maybe you support a shaman too. A lot of people want to hear about everyone else's experience. So be sure to reach out to services@shamanmemoirs.com. The information will also be in the description box below. Now, for today's episode, though, I am super, super excited to bring on the one and only Cheechee. So welcome, Cheechee, to Tassie's podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to have you here. And that's right. A lot of you guys have said, is she trying to get rid of this candy? We are going to do with Cheechee. You know what? It kind of sucks because why do I have to do it every time? So we're going to have you go ahead and try the world's most sour candy. Oh.
Okay.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. This is bomb. Y'all tripping. This was good.
It doesn't taste good.
Oh, this is bomb. You know what this tastes like? It tastes like tea. Have you ever had that?
I don't know what that is.
It's like a mung berry that, like, in Laos they have their own kind, and then in California, growing up, it's like native to California to have their own. Theirs is like similar to the one in Laos, but this for sure they use tea to make it. I'm
gonna spit mine
I'm probably
out.
the only person that said that, right, so far.
GJ likes it. She likes the taste of
Oh
these.
yeah, she did say that. Girl, you would like some tea. Yeah. Look at that.
It's not that. Thank you. It's not that. It's like, okay, it is very sour, but it doesn't have a good taste. Look at you enjoying this. Like,
this is so good.
your eyes lit up.
Hell yeah, that was good. I mean, but I do have to say, like, I grew up on, like, Mexican candy. Yeah, and I think they use tea because it may be native to, like, Mexico, California area.
Oh,
you know?
gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, this is like not it for me. It just doesn't have that good flavor, like, I don't know. I think I was, like when you eat like warheads, right? It still has that sweetness though. Like you could taste the flavor, like watermelon or something. Yeah. But this is just sour.
Literally, tea, if you eat it with like monk pepper.
I love eating fruit with monk pepper. I love that.
That was good. I need the name of it.
Oh my God, I'll send it to you. Okay. It was like, I think like only like, I think it was like $14.99 on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can order the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, I will definitely.
Yeah, I'm probably the only person so far that, like, as a guest, I mean. Yeah.
No, definitely. Well, thank you, Cheechee, for your break. Like, oh my God, yeah. I feel like my tongue is a little like tingling. No,
that was bomb. I'm good.
Well, Cheechee, besides loving sour things, is also an actively practicing shaman. So I'm super excited to have you on, really to talk about ceremonies. And, many, many years ago, if you guys have been watching my videos, I discussed about a very specific ceremony that I did, which involved the father of the client. That was actually Cheechee's ceremony that I did many, many years ago when I first rose as a shaman. And I really am so thankful that, we stayed in contact because so much time has passed. And then I went through a party phase. And I was like just running away from all responsibilities, living the life. And then really just also seeing you grow. Like you were not practicing shaman back then. And then you you did become a shaman. So really, we have so much to unpack. Like, tell me about let's go back and let's talk about the ceremony that I did for you all those years ago. Like, do you recall the time leading up to the ceremony?
Yeah.
How was it?
I was going crazy. I was like just talking to my husband about this last night, and I was like, gosh, I was just going nuts. That's all I remember was I was really, really like struggling with just my mental health and going through it. And we were one of those people that were at Tassie's house until 12 a.m. Like, me and David were literally one of those people, okay? Like, that's why she do things differently now. It's because of us. Seriously.
And you know what? I remember being in that place.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're first kind of discovering about everything, you need all the information. You're trying to absorb as much as you can. You know, so and then you have that feeling too that you need to go there. So it's definitely I understand. I understand, but now I have boundaries.
I know. And I get it 100,000% now, but
came back to you, didn't it?
Yes, it did. It sure did. My payback was not fun. But yeah. But yeah, at the same time I understand from the client or the person that needs help's perspective too, because they're just lost.
Yeah. Lately, I've been having a lot of conversations with my students that it's super bad before a ceremony. Like, you're like, you know all about it. Before your own ceremony, it is a nightmare. You're like, Molly, for sure, she always talks about it too, because I didn't realize it. Like, when I was rising again, my shrine. Okay, this is like after the cruise, we had a fantastic time. I am preparing to raise my shrine again. And she said, like, there were days where she just wanted to choke me. And the thing is, I felt it. I could feel, not her wanting to choke me, but I could feel
that energy.
That craze. There is this beast that comes out and it makes you like, there were so many fights that I had where like I just couldn't see because your blood pressure is so high, your vision's going blind. It was just a blur. And like, oh God, I remember when it hit me with my boyfriend. We were actually moving into my office. And I remember I was like irritated that things were taking longer than it should, you know? Like everything needs to happen fast. And I literally took one step out and we saw our neighbor's parents. Okay, the neighbor's parents were outside helping, doing some yard work because it's springtime. And I remember I turned and I looked at them and my boyfriend smiled and said hi to them and I lost it. Like, it's a real thing. And Molly's witness to a lot of this stuff. Molly's like carrying things like, oh my God, she's gonna blow up in public.
I swear she looks like the mini you. Seriously.
It's only because we're both blonde. That's the only.
No, you guys have a lot of resemblance too, though. I think so.
Oh, thank you. Well, like she definitely has like a very similar energy. Yeah. And but sometimes her energy levels make me want to choke her out because like Molly's tired all the time. But she's like 12 years younger than me, and I'm always giving her crap about that. Yeah. Like, come on. You are like when I was your age, I would have double the energy. Yeah. No, but literally, I was just going blind rage that day. And I remember I saw our neighbor's parents, and then Molly knew I was losing it. Like, I'm holding things, and I'm losing it. And then, like, it's boiling up, and then I start like doing chants. Okay, not chants. Okay, I was like, I was swearing. And like my swearing was quiet, and then it was getting louder and louder. And then my boyfriend also noticed it, and he was like, he's trying to usher me into the house, and I'm like, ah! Outside in broad daylight, and I didn't care who saw it. Like, we all going down today. I'm gonna burn the whole house down. my boyfriend. I've been talking to my boyfriend. I was like, don't worry, I won't burn the house now anymore now. But literally, you guys, that was my line. You know, like the slashing your tire kind of crazy. Like literally with my boyfriend that time, you know, like, I will admit, I've said it before to my boyfriend. I was going to burn his house. It's a joke. Okay, like,
It's not a joke. She's not joking. I know.
No, like, but that rage, like that I haven't felt that rage though since I raised my shrine.
Oh, this is legit. This is accurate. This is accurate.
I'm like, I cannot be the only person.
No,
but
you're not.
It is so bad before you raise, and then once I finally raised, Mother Teresa. I don't know who that person was.
It was not who I am right now. Like I have no association with that person anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, but then like even like when I was raising all of my altars back then, way back then, it was also really bad before I raised it. And like the whole house can feel it, and especially like if you guys have partners, it's bad between you guys too. And thank God it's over. Like,
Yes.
you know? But it's funny though, because I've been talking a lot of it to my students, and I've been trying to warn people as well, like clients that I have, before your ceremony, it's gonna get bad. You know, like it's just a lot that's happening. The spirits are anxious. It's causing you this anxiety, and then you start to get this quick rage that comes and goes, and it's really not the people around you. It is not the people around you. Like the way it takes over you though. So I had to have a long conversation with my students, really just trying to make sure that they still took care of their relationship during that time too. And then after the ceremony, they were like happy again. They were like motivated again. They were like in love again. It's a real thing.
That's funny. David was just talking to me about that. Like, I wish you heard what he said.
What? What was he saying?
Well, David was like, I don't know if he was like trying to be really gentle because he knows how like snappy I can be. So it was like, I don't know if you noticed or if you remembered, but your crazy went away afterwards. Like it was like, I mean, you still had your crazy, but it just was not the same. And I was like, are we like talking about a person? Like,
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know that person anymore. Like, yeah, but he noticed it. I didn't. Like for me, when people ask me like after your healing, like, do you feel different? And I'm like, not until years later. Mm-hmm. Like for me, it's that way. Some people feel it instantly, but for me, I was like, when I look back, I'm like, oh yeah, it was different, you know? Yeah, I just like feel like afterwards, I was like, less crazy. I like, I wouldn't say crazy. I know some people can get really triggered by that, so I do apologize. But to me, I felt like I was going crazy. So, but it was just a lot of mental health. Like I would break down a lot because I felt like me hearing so many things and seeing so many things, like I was still in denial, like it ain't real, like I'm just going nuts, you know? Mm-hmm. David was like, yeah, I don't know if you remember, but
reminding you.
Yeah.
What are you reminding me for?
Yeah. And he was so shocked because he was like, after all these years, because it's been like over 10 years.
Yeah.
He was like, after all these years, you still didn't know that the crazy went away a little bit, you know? And I was like, I thought I was just always crazy. Like,
no, and it's true. Like, you know, it's funny because during ceremonies, when I am healing a client, a lot of them will comment that they feel certain body pains during the ceremony, during the actual ceremony. However, it's very different depending on the ceremony when you're talking about instantaneous results, right? Mm-hmm. And that is something that I think is really good too, that people understand. Like ceremonies, when it's about an illness, when it's about like a entity on you, those kind of things you will feel pretty quick, you know. Whereas when they're trying to like, oh, and also bridging of clients where their marriage is, rocky, those things you will feel a lot faster.
Mm.
And then there are a lot of other things like raising someone's luck or making the bridge stronger for them to be able to achieve certain things. Sometimes it takes time before you'll actually see the results. And then also a really quick one is when you raise a student's shrine. It's just very instant. Okay. Those things, but it does, when I say instant though, like for everybody, even for my own ceremonies of raising my shrine, within 1 to 3 days, you start to, oh, I get it now. I feel it now. Like, so it definitely, those kind of things is what I'm talking about when it's instant. But a lot of people do talk about feeling certain body pains on them when they are being worked on, kind of like Reiki, I guess. I'm still bitter about Reiki.
What happened?
Because everybody has a hallelujah moment. I want this hallelujah moment. So, but you know what's so funny? Because I actually had a student. She also loves Reiki, right? And I support Reiki. I've seen what it does for people, and so and I've been there watching other people's sessions during Reiki too, and like I'm seeing all of it happening in real life, So I'm like, oh, I do believe in this power of Reiki. But then I had this client tell me, or student, wife, she told me that she really could feel the Reiki, but her husband and her brother, who happens to also be my students, they didn't feel it. They were very much like me. They didn't feel anything. And she thinks it has to do with because every shaman, we have different types of abilities, right? And then for us, we are so protected by our spirit guides, whereas other shamans, especially if you have very similar Nenga as that Reiki specialist, then you can really feel you guys working together, Whereas us, we're like a stone. We're like a statue. We don't feel nothing. But I want that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've had Reiki done, and I feel like I'm different. Like I
feel it?
Yeah, I felt it. I was actually able to like travel with them the whole time. Yeah.
You know what's funny? Because I felt like she was traveling with me.
Oh, okay.
And because she saw everything I saw. I didn't go anywhere other than where my clinic took me.
Right.
So I felt like, but it was just really funny how, because sometimes after your Reiki session, you will hear about messages that they may have seen for you, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, she literally just went everywhere I went, and because like I saw a lot of very specific scenes and people, and they also came through to her. So she was also trying to like, I don't know, that was so weird.
It was weird. I mean, I guess like maybe I just had the same experience, but maybe I didn't really have an aha moment either. But she was able to follow everything. And from my understanding is like you and your guides are supposed to take her where you need to be healed.
Oh,
that was what my lady did.
Okay, I'll tell you what happened. This ain't no.
That's what I understood. That's what Reiki is your own angels.
Okay,
take them to where.
Let me tell you what they did to me. Let me tell you what happened. Okay, I saw that fat white dragon floating in the air, right? Oh, yeah, and they were like, "Oh, that's you." I'm like, I'm suspicious that it's so chunky. And they were like, "All baby dragons are chunky." I'm like, this feels personal though. And then you know what they did? They took me to the underworld. Oh. And in the underworld, they made me sit at the gate for a year. Because I had to watch and learn the rules of how some entities will drag spirits through, others will walk spirits through. So I literally made a cloud bed because I got tired, and I laid on this bed. And then after a year there, I was like, I'm over it. So I got off my cloud and I made a door, and they told me once you go through that door, you can never come back out, right? But then I made my own door and I walked through that door because I was bored. But I was supposed to be learning about sending off spirits to the underworld. What do I need to heal from this?
What's your lesson? Like, always a lesson.
Oh my God. Like I saw spirits getting dragged. I saw spirits willingly going, but they were depressed. And I saw spirits that were confused and scared. And then after I went through the door, I went and actually saw one of my students and what they do down there. And I was like, oh, well, this is boring. And I kept walking. Because to me, it's just work. Like, this isn't, like, this is entertaining. Like, and then I saw a lot of gold. I kept, because some people were talking about colors, like people could see colors in their Reiki sessions. And I just saw a lot of gold. And then I did see Michael. But he was far away in a cloud somewhere. And then I came to her actual facility and we started rummaging through everything. Looking for black magic, looking for kakam. Like, when they were looking for spirits, trying to kill spirits. That was my healing.
Oh, dang. Dang, that was a lot.
No, that's a good one. It was an hour, man. I was trapped for an hour all night.
That was a lot for a Reiki healing.
Yeah.
Did it heal you? I'm just kidding.
Nah, I wanted that hallelujah. But you know, she did say that I was super grounded. You know, and then like my sister was taking photos and she was doing like this, you know, like, because she was like, you are super, super grounded. And I was like, yeah. But you know, I will say this, okay? The session was very reminiscent of when I go get my palms read. You know, like, because when I get my palms read and everything, there's nothing. You're doing great. There's nothing wrong. That's what always happens.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's definitely your guides. Like, no, we're not letting you see nothing. Like,
we good.
Yeah.
Bye. Did you need something?
Yeah. For real.
But you know, when I do palm readings or any type of spiritual work, right, by other people, I always let them know in advance that I am a shaman. So that way they're not like thrown off or anything like that. Like, and one thing that I did tell my sister afterwards, it's very important going into those sessions with an open heart. Like, if you're trying to block everything and hide everything, you're doing yourself no favors, you know, because you're there for them. They don't need you. Like, they're not the ones with the same issues and they're looking for your issues, right? So if you're looking for somebody to help you, definitely go with an open mind, and you're really looking for answers and help. Like, that's what, and she didn't know that. She was literally like, are you going to guess it? And I'm like, well, were you receptive to their information? Okay. Now, I'm not saying the information is always going to be accurate or it's always going to be true to you, right? But were you trying, or were you like, bye?
That's literally me and David for like after you diagnosed us. After that, we were like, every time we go, we're not gonna tell them what we're going there for. Like, literally, we like had to make them guess. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, and then the shaman's like, okay, like,
what can I help you with?
But then
you're like, I don't know. Just go look to see what you see.
Seriously. And then afterwards, they're usually like, they always diagnosed us that we were still gifted. Like that. Every time we went, we were like, okay, it's gonna be something new. Like, we're not gifted. They're gonna be like, we're not gifted. No, every time we don't say nothing, and they're still like, y'all both gifted, and that's why y'all having issues, and that's why y'all came.
We could see the fighting. We could see this in the air. Oh man, yeah. You know, like I will say too, like you know, I've had clients come with both spouses, and then I have to lay it down to both of them. What your issues are, what both your issues are.
I thought you meant like both spouses isn't like nilone yo or
no, like, because like, you know, like I definitely have clients who come about their marital issues, about children, and then it always leads to different things, different questions come up, you know. Yeah. But it's just like when I have to say things and like their spouse is right there, I'm like,
I think this one should be a private one.
Yeah. I like it, but you know, like, but I do love when they are trying to work on their relationship.
Yeah.
And I never realized how much going to a shaman was like a therapy session.
It really is.
I never realized
That's
that.
why we were at her house until 12 a.m.,
It took me so long to register this. I'm like, why are people here all the time?
Yeah. Like, we need that therapy. I remember during that time, I don't know if you said it or David said it, but they were like, yeah, like apparently I think it was you. I'm like a personal shaman now or something. Like, I feel like I'm a personal shaman to some people because they just like all the time. And I was like, oh, that's us. Like, you were our personal shaman back then. It was like, oh my gosh, chill. I'm not your personal shaman. Stop.
But the thing is, it's so hard because you could feel your spirit guides telling you that they need help.
Yeah.
But then the human side, you're like, it's 1 a.m. I gotta work tomorrow. I'm gonna sleep.
Yeah.
Like my students, they'll ask me, so what are the rules around contacting you? Like, can we do it like in the middle of the night? I was like, you can. I'm not answering, but you sure can. All right, so tell me, going back to your ceremony, tell me more about like what were you feeling during the ceremony and then afterwards?
Leading up to then I felt really crazy. And then, but I was just doing like the normal nya stuff, prepping food, getting the budget right, like literally just focusing on what we're gonna cook and everything. I was not aware of anything like deeper in the, spiritual side. I just, and we didn't know like all the formalities of like asking a shaman. Like, thankfully, we had my brother-in-law and sister-in-law that knows how to do all of that because they did definitely help us with that. It was actually my sister-in-law that was like, we need to go ask Tassie to fix you because
your sister-in-law.
Yeah, because during that time we lived in their basement, and the reason why we moved there was to try to save money to buy a house. Yeah, I think living in their basement, and because my brother-in-law was also a shaman, and during the time he was like much more a beginner, and so we slept like in the basement, like right under where like kind of like where his altar is. Mm-hmm. And it just living there, it felt like a open portal. Yeah, where like spirits just came through all the time to me. So I was like going nuts. But leading up to that, besides all the craziness I was feeling, I was really just more concerned about the nya duties. Mm-hmm. And even on the day of the ceremony, I was not aware of like, and I never understood like what you need to do to like through nianeng or tsineng, like, or what goes into like, I didn't know that you should have breakfast ready. I didn't know like that, the whole meal is specifically to say thank you to the shaman. Like, I didn't understand the whole concept of it. But I just knew that they were doing this for me, right? On that day, I remember I was cooking. My sister-in-law, I think she told me, can you go downstairs to grab something in the basement freezer? And I was like, okay. And I went down there, and you had already been trancing for a while. And David and all the men were like, watching you trance. And that's like a normal thing, and the stairs is right here. And then you guys are trancing like over here. And this is like a stairs that comes up, and all the men can see when I come up, I went downstairs and I just froze. And I was like, what the? And I just like, it was almost like something just took over me. And then I saw like a holographic that was like green of my dad. And am I seeing this right now? Like, I'm just, doing my nya duties. And I never saw anything like that before. It wasn't with my actual eyes, but it was as if I saw it with my actual eyes. Like, I never saw something so clear like that. The only thing I can compare it to is if you've seen the movie The Wizard of Oz. At the end, when you actually see Oz and he's like all green and holographic, that's how my dad was. And so he said to me, in Hmong, he said, I'm so sorry, but I have to let you go now. And I was like, I just started crying because my dad actually he passed away when I was 1, but I've always felt extremely connected to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I never understood how or why I was so connected to my dad, even though I never really had the time with him. I do now. Then after I saw my dad, I started crying like crazy, you know, and he was just saying like, I have to let you go. They're giving me money, and you know, they're telling me that it's not good for me to hold on to you. So I'm going to let you go. And, you know, I just want you to know I've always loved you and I've always cared about you. And, yeah, so I started crying like crazy because, you know, just that yearning I've always yearned for a father figure or my dad. It just came all at once, right? So I run upstairs and I look in the kitchen for my sister-in-law, and she's doing the dishes hard. She's like going at it. So I was like, and then and I was like, no, not the right person. I go to David. I go to where all the men are, and I'm like, there's all these men, and I'm like crying. And then,
You're like, I need anybody.
yeah, and I didn't know that while you were trancing, you could hear me.
Oh.
I didn't know that. I didn't know. I thought like when you're in your trance, you're just like so in the zone, you know? And so I was like, and then I was looking at David like, I'm so, like, help me, right? But he was like in the middle of like all these men. So he's like, I can't help you, right? So
He's like, go away.
yeah.
Go away.
Yeah, and I was like, so I run into the garage, and my 2 sisters there, and we had a very intimate like ceremony where it was just immediate family only.
Mm-hmm.
My 2 sisters were there, and I was like, I just saw my dad, and they were just like, oh, she's having one of her crazy moments. Like, they were just like not comforting. No one comforted me, and I was like, I'm so sad, you know, like I was literally like crying and so hard. And then I finally like gathered myself, and then it seemed like everything else after that was just like a blur. Like, I don't really recall. I just know that like I only remember the bits and pieces, like when I was crying after you were done and you were like, yeah, Cheechee, you were really sad. Mm-hmm. And you didn't really say much. I was like, and I don't know if I ever said to you in that moment, like, I saw my dad. Like, I don't think I did.
Yeah, no, you never told me.
Yeah, I never did. And so then we, you know, did the dinner and everything, or the lunch, and, you know, all the proper formal stuff. And after that, I was just kind of in the dark, like not understanding why I saw my dad or anything until you made the video.
Years later.
Yeah, years later. Like, I never understood like why I saw my dad. And then, you know, and I never talked to David about it. I wish I talked to him about it.
Because, like, usually after my ceremonies, we talk about everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, my spirit guides wanted to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, hang on. I don't think this is the right move.
I know. That was amazing. I was like, you can follow. Like, I can follow. Like, and I was like humanly, there's no way that I would understand all this, like, jingle bell stuff, you know, chanting and all the noises. Like, it's just drowned out back noise to me as a human, right?
Yeah.
And someone who has not been a shaman yet, you just kind of, it's just lingo to you. For me to be able to know that very moment that it was my dad, and then, you know, way later when you made the video, and then David finally explained to me, my husband, he was like, yeah, you know that, like, in that moment she was gonna your dad. And that's why he was like, bye-bye. And then
I can just see David explaining it that way. Bye-bye.
Yeah. And then like I was like, oh my gosh, really? And then he was, yeah. So that was so crazy. And when he saw your video and he came to me, he was actually like, oh, you know, he was like very gentle about it. He was like, I want to show you this video. Don't be mad, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, Tassie made a video about you. And I have to say, at first, I was like, right? I was like, how dare she? And I was like crying, you know? But then I watched the video and I was like, wait, what? This is what happened? Like, I do have to say, like, your healing ceremony there and you making the video, every time I watched that video, like years after years of that video, it has healed me over and over again. I felt like every time I watched it, there was something different that like I learned. And I just want to say thank you so much.
Oh,
yeah.
You are welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
It was very hard for you back then.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where my spirit guides could see all of these things about you. And, you know, like a lot of times, this is what I talk about in some of my videos too. Like being a shaman, you need to have such strong critical thinking skills and discernment. You know, like at the beginning, we're raised, listen to your guides. What do they say? What do they want? Right? So you're listening to everything they say and want. But then later on, they're like, but you need to control them. You can't let them control you. So then you're like, wait a minute. So a lot of times, like for me, it came very natural. Probably because I was a bad kid. Like I questioned authority all the time. Like church didn't like me. My Hmong teacher didn't like me. My parents for sure are always like, Coach, yeah. Like I always questioned authority, you know, like, so like with my spirit guides, I'm always like, my God. But to your Kwaneng, this is what they're raised to do. This is the way. Then they know they have every right. And that's what they look for. Are they in the right? So a lot of times coming in, I'm always like, I know that this is the right, but it's not good for the client. You know, like she's not ready for this, you guys. But then, you know, like it's things that they're like, well, if you don't do it now, in the future, these kind of things will happen. And I'm like, it's okay. She'll live through that. So yeah, it was, yeah, like, you know, but hearing you talk about this, you know, like, even like when I meet with my actual clients, in that 30 minutes or that 1 hour, we talk about so many things that I feel like they forget a lot of the things we talk about.
Right.
So it is something that, you know, like, I wish I could give that more to other people so that they can look back on it and to think about. There's so many ceremonies I've done, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm so behind on doing like more individualized, personalized videos too about like my ceremonies, but yeah, like, definitely the one thing besides your father during your ceremony, there was so much fighting I had to do. It was a heavy ceremony.
So sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize for that. That's my job, you know? But there was so, like, but you guys have to understand, during that era, I was so tired of fighting, you guys. I was so, like, that spider I saw, and I kept trying to pretend it wasn't there. But every time I looked back, it was still coming after me. And I'm like, oh, man. Like, no matter where I went, he kept coming. So finally, I was like, okay, let's just fight. Let's just get it over with. You know, like, but I guess I was so tired. Like, and this is one of the things where even my boyfriend had asked me. This was like 6 years or 4 years into dating. He basically asked me, like, why did I stop being a shaman, you know? Because he knew how much of it was my life and how it impacted my life. And he knew that I saw things and all sorts of stuff. So he was always curious, like, why did you? And I was like, well, I was so tired of fighting, man. Yeah. I don't know about you, but I get real tired. Like, it's like this whole procession. You gotta call all these spirit guides. Where I'm just like, just do it quick, man. Hurry up, we gotta go.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, totally can relate.
Yeah. Gosh, you know, and like, I like my teacher, she loves it. Like, my teacher loves doing the fighting and doing the talking to spirits and everything. I hate it.
I hate it too. Like,
I'm like, this. Like, they take over you, and then they're saying all this unnecessary things. and my favorite line whenever I do ceremony is, Gucci Lenga. No, Gucci Lenga. Because if the spirits have their way, they will, like, give them an inch, they'll take a mile, okay? They'll be like, well, we told you, but no, you know, we did not lang, you know, we did not agree. I'm not here to agree. You can say whatever it is you want. I'm not agreeing to anything. And then I pushed it off to the client. In the future, the client will like you need it, because then like I literally went to go raise a student, and they were telling me all these things about her shaman journey in the future, what it's supposed to be like, and the things that she has to do in her life. And I was like, y'all need to go tell her. Because I don't want her to take on and unknowingly agree to all these responsibilities because I said, okay, thank you for the information. So I try to stop them because then I started to see some kind of like heavier and darker things that she's going to have to go through. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody. So I'm like, no, our conversation is over today. like literally sometimes like to Dahua, like clients ancestors, I'll just be like, bye, keep going, and they're chasing after me. They're like, and y'all can just see my ceremonies. Maybe you guys should see my ceremony. I'm just standing there with my sword and my dragon, like, what do you want? Like, we got things to do. You guys woke us up so early for this.
For real. They probably knew I was going to be late today. They woke me up. They were like, wake up, and I was just like, that's so weird. They haven't done that for a while, And then when you were like, oh, I'm heading over there right now, I was like, oh. And did I hit the time wrong? And then I was like, oh, shoot. I gotta, like, get up and go, yeah.
No, you're fine. But, yeah, like, it be like that. Like, your spirit guides do wake you up. Like, my spirit guides always wake me up based off of when the client wakes up, because then they're like, time to go to work. And I'm like, I don't have to be there yet, though. But, yeah, it'd be like that, too. Now that you are a shaman,
yeah,
how is it like with the correlation and understanding of it all, like doing the actual ceremony? Like, what do you have to say about that now?
I'm like, damn, she had to do a lot, and I guess I never really understood what a shaman actually does my whole life. Like, I've always just known that we have to pay our utmost respect to a shaman and, never touch their shrine and things like that. Like, I'm definitely Momika, who like just did not understand any kind of formalities or what they do. Like, I'm so slow that I did not know, or like I did not put two and two together, like the simple things as even like mahupli,
Mm-hmm.
like what that entails and why that's so important and how endearing it is or loving it is, and how much work that they have to take to go there and do all of that. So yeah, now that I'm a shaman, I'm like, oh wow, she had to do a lot. Like, I was like one of those that is like just a lot.
It is a lot.
So much negativity, so many like traumas, and you had to go and collect all my spirits and bring it back. And that's one thing I didn't know a shaman does, is like, they'll go and collect all your spirits and bring them back to you and make you whole again. And that's how it heals you. And now that I'm a shaman and I realize that, I'm like, oh my gosh, you did all that? And like, David's just like, yeah, that's what they do. And I'm like, I didn't know that. I'm so dumb, like.
No, it's definitely, it's not that you're dumb. It's when you don't have that knowledge, like even back then I didn't know. And here's the kicker. My teacher used to test me. She'd be like, and it's so funny how she does it too, because I can tell she's doing it. But she'd be like, and then I have to explain to her everything I had to do. Everything from start to finish. And you're so nervous because, it's your teacher.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, she gonna tell you have no idea what you're doing. You're just messing around. And then she'll stop me at certain points and question me further. And I'm like,
you're like, I thought this wasn't a game.
Yeah. And then she doesn't, she never acknowledges yes or no I'm doing anything right? She just listens and like, mm-hmm. And then at the very end, yeah, they're taking you, right? And I'm just like, thanks, teacher. I need a cigarette now. I need a shot of alcohol. Like, I wish I had known. So
in her head, she's like, oh, good job. Oh, interesting. Very, okay, y'all, him on.
Yeah, so definitely it was one of those things where um, it gives you that affirmation that you know you're doing it right too, but at the same time you're like it's nerve wracking, like you don't know when she's gonna test you suddenly. But it was good though that she does that, you know, to really understand that I am doing things correctly, that I'm not just imagining things. Because I remember I used to be really afraid of water, like dark water. I'm still afraid. Like I used to be. But in the spirit world, okay, like I remember this one time there was these ladies, they kept going in and out of the water and looking at me. And then they would go in the water again and look at me. And I'm like,
creepy.
cool pond here. And then I stopped my journey. And then my teacher was, and I explained to her what I saw. And she was cracking up. And she's like, they want you to go in the water. And I was like, but what? Why do I need to go in this water? And she was like, it's to clean you because you're dirty. So then I went back to go in Oneng again, and they brought me back to the same pond. And then those two ladies were there again. And then they keep like pointing at the water, right? And then finally, like I almost didn't do it again, you guys. Because you know, like when you have this phobia, it's like you cannot bring yourself to do it. Finally, and my teacher, this is what got me though. My teacher was cracking up because she was like, it's not even as if you're doing it in real life. It's just in your mind. You know, you're going in the water in your mind. And I'm like, but teacher, I can't do it in my mind either. So then I went in and I was like, okay, we're going to die. Here we go. And it was totally fine. And that fear that I had washed off of me. Aww. But it was my fear of being clean. That's why my dirtiness was like, no, you're going to die if you go in there. And I almost believed it. But I am thankful that I went into that water. But the way my spirit guides sometimes look at me, it'd be like, like, well, they can't even say anything bad about me either. So they're just like, come on. And that'd be even creepier. I'd be like, no, if you did this to me, I'd be like, nope, not today, Satan.
I'm laughing so hard because I know exactly what she's talking about.
It'd be like that, man. Like this is something I always try to tell people. How we are now, y'all didn't even see us before. If y'all saw us before, we all went through struggles, man. It makes us stronger people.
Yeah. I always say, I don't know how you're still friends with me. Like, if you've been with me for over 10 years, I don't know how you've been friends with me for that long.
But no, I'm telling you, like I understand where you came from. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you feel so alone through all this, and then you're irritating everybody around you, but you're like, am I crazy, or like, am I making this up? But it's so hard to get somebody to understand where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. And especially way back then, you know, like what? I don't know. I was like 22 when I raised my shrine. It was so long ago. It was like 16 years ago. So times were very different too back then with shamanism. A lot of it was still very much in the traditions, right? Whereas now I feel like, especially with so many families becoming more Americanized and even shamans, I feel like it's a lot of an easier time. But then again, you know, like maybe it's just my perspective that it's an easier time because now everyone is facing the ailments of the depression. Right. And, you know, you're seeing things, you're feeling things, you feel like you're going crazy. It's very hard to show that to your elders when they're looking for you dying. Yeah. But that's not the kwaneng you have to do that to you, you know? Yeah. So it's very different and harder. You have different struggles, I guess I would say, mm-hmm. You know, very much so different struggles that it's hard to get your families to take you seriously and your partners to understand how you are monenging. But yeah, no, it's just, in general, ceremonies is just a lot of work too, you guys. Shamans do a lot of background. And that's why I like to do the recaps, you know, like with my client. And usually as soon as I get down, I remember everything the most. But if I, you know, eat for a while, I forget a lot of stuff until later.
I'm the same. I'm like, I did my job already. It's fine.
Yeah, now you're just relaxing. So it's very important to get us the shaman right away, and really just relay a lot of the information ASAP, because then that's what we remember a lot more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like after you did the ceremony for me, um like you had mentioned, like I think you did the quick recap where you just kind of explain everything. And I do remember you saying like, "Oh, you did see like my dad." I think I remember you mentioning it, but like I don't think you went into detail like your video. And so I was just like, "Oh, wow." Like just like you saw my dad. I didn't have the correlation of like right in that moment when you were like your guides were like, "Let's kill him now." I was downstairs crying to my dad. Like I did not understand that until like years later when David said, "Oh, I actually was able to follow her." And I knew exactly when her guides were like, "Okay, let's go kill him." And she was like, just nope, just wait. She's crying. We can hear her, like and when I started crying, David was like, I knew exactly then, like you knew, And I think I am extremely thankful and lucky to have my husband to reaffirm me that, like what happened was real and that he like saw it too, and I'm not the only one that sees it.
So what would you recommend for like advice or things that you wish you had known for ceremonies for people?
It's good to know like that it's like the formalities. I mean, it's not for like every lineage is different, right? But I think that all the formal things like prepping a meal, all the like inviting everyone, like I feel like it should change a little bit to be like a little bit more intimate, like where it's you don't have to stress so much about the cooking and the cleaning that it prevents you from wanting to have a healing session because you're just so worried about money and like the food,
Yeah.
I think that it should be more focused on like just getting healed. And so I would like advise everyone, that don't let things hinder you from getting your healing if it's unnecessary. Like you don't have to invite every single person to come. It could just be more intimate if you don't have the funds. I mean, if you do and you want to, that's totally okay too. But yeah, just don't let the small stuff hinder you from getting a healing session because as you guys heard my story, it's years later and I'm still healing from it. And I think at that time I didn't understand the depths and understand how much I would heal in the future. And that's something that we don't think about. We think, oh, after the ceremony, I'm healed. But it continued to heal me even years later. And when you look back, you do see the change in you. Like you do see that, oh, I didn't realize it right away. And some people do. Some people, like you said, they get the instant gratification. But yeah, I would just advise everyone that, get this. It's better to get the healing done than not get it done. Just get it done. Like if you feel like you need it, family members need it, just do it. You won't regret it.
And it's so different because when we see as a shaman looking at clients, right? The images and the feeling that I see and feel, I wish I could just for a split second push it on them so that they can see themselves in the future. Like I have so many clients where I see such a strong image of them in the future and they're older and they're happy. And I wish they could see this image. But I always tell them, like, in the future, when you get there, I want you to remember me in this office and our conversation.
Yeah.
And that is what I saw, So I really wish I could show that to people. Same thing with, like when we could see all the struggles that people are going through with clients, and how it is something that we could fix during a ceremony. But it's the logistics. The logistics gets everyone. And for my own ceremonies, I do not eat breakfast before I go. I just don't. So I always try to tell the client in advance, I don't do breakfast. So don't prepare a meal because you're just going to waste your time. I appreciate it and I know that they want to show their appreciation, but I'm trying to save you. Okay. I'm serious when I say I don't want breakfast. But like a lot of people, what they do, and okay, this is back in the older days, ceremonies, the one thing I love about ceremonies is when they would go get, and I'm not saying this for my clients, okay, and my students, don't do this, but I love the French bread from Trong Nam, and then they would dip it in condensed milk with coffee. Like that
Take note, guys.
yeah, that is like, I remember, because like all of the guests waiting for the ceremony, they would just snack on that, you know, and fruits and stuff and wafers, you know, like that is like the best. So it's funny because in my family we do a lot of snacks, and it's probably influenced through me because I always tell them, okay, like, you know, during all the ceremonies I go to, this is what they always did. They even went to Trong Nam, and they even went and got the condensed milk. And we always get coffee. Like everybody, like my siblings and even my nieces and them, they will, like, I'll go grab Dunkin', you know, and then so I'll go grab the bread. I'll go grab this. And then we all come in that morning and we have all the stuff. So we definitely help each other a lot during our ceremonies, just because we know we're just feeding ourselves. That's the kicker. We're not even feeding like a bunch of other people. The only new person is maybe the shaman.
Yeah.
That's it. But we're just feeding ourselves. And it's like we do cater a lot. And I'm going to be doing a ceremony this summer. And we always cater Panda Express. So I had to ask my sister, I only have one request. Just a small one. Can you please not cater Panda Express? I'm tired of eating it.
You mean that
one? Did you know what animal?
No, girl, no, I did not know. I was like, what? I was so confused. And then when she said Panda Express, I was like, oh, girl, you got it.
How else would you say Panda Express in Hmong?
I probably wouldn't know. I'd just be like, you know,
Oh,
that's
that's a
probably,
good one. That's a good one.
That's probably all that I would have said. But I would.
And it was all because I was trying not to say Panda Express.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. I should have added the shawarma. But yeah, no, I do not want to die. Because you know, because in my family we always cater during ceremonies.
Yeah.
But when I go to my clients and they are really like, they cook, it is so tasty. Like, I'm so happy. But when my family, because maybe because I'm just so used to the catering, I'm tired of it. I want you to cook that pork with ginger dish. But, you know, like, I do have some clients who don't eat pork, you know. And, you know, one thing that I love that I never noticed this, a lot of my clients always ask me if me or my Hoosha have any food accommodations.
Oh.
I was like, wow. But yeah, I was like, only usually if it's one of my sisters who comes, she's allergic to shellfish. But other than that, I'm just like, wow. Like, because like I've never asked for that.
I didn't consider it as a week. Like, I'm like, I didn't even ask. I'm just like, we're just making food and you're gonna have to eat it the way it is. Yeah, like, no, I've once, like, people have become more like vegan and stuff like that. It's more common. Now I do kind of ask.
Yeah, no, I love I like that traditional ceremony food.
I did not think that or know that, girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought she was a cater everything, eat out everything girl.
Yeah, no, but it's like I'm so used to it in my own family, you know, like I don't want to eat this. I was like, please, can you cook this dish? But you know, I've also been to ceremonies where they want everybody in the family. Everybody in the family wants to watch me do the ceremony. Yes. So I have been to those ceremonies too. So what they do is all the food's already made. Because we're doing kapuan, you know, and it's a big old pot of kapuan. They prepared everything. So then when I'm going, I'm looking at everybody like, what are you guys all doing here? They're just crowding around. They like,
we have a celebrity shaman up in here. We have a celebrity shaman up in here. We can watch her every move. And you're like, can you guys not? Right?
I don't mind if people watch me, but I remember the first time that happened. I was like, oh, they already prepared everything. They were just sitting there and everyone sat and watched and saw the whole thing, you know? And honestly, I mean, if you can, more power to you. but it's so boring watching something.
No! Shit! I'm like, sorry. I like literally when I watch other people like trans, I'm like, what is happening? Like, and then I just end up playing on my phone because I'm like, so bored. But yeah, other people can like, when they're determined, they can watch the whole thing. I don't know if they can follow.
Yeah. And I'm just like, and I hate talking to people, like spirits too. I'm just like, because they always are sassy, I ain't got time for this. Like, if you want to talk to me, you better come with me on my journey. I'm still going.
For real. They're like, no, we're stopping you right here. You gonna send this message right now.
Yeah. But, I will say this too. A lot of the ceremonies that I've been doing, you don't have to do the whole traditional tianeng. I do advise you just talking to the shaman. What does the shaman prefer? What is required for their kwaneng? Because then for me, buffet, okay. Because then, sitting at the table, I do also offer the traditional tianeng because there are a lot of families of my clients that are more traditional and they love to drink at the table, but I remember we went to this one ceremony and they kept passing a call and it's happening on both sides. Okay. And I'm sitting there like, I'm just trying to eat, man. And I'm looking at people like, get your cup away from me. So they definitely were a lot lenient on me because I'm just like, boy, I'm here to eat.
Yeah.
And I'll answer your questions, but I need my food.
I'm the same where I'm like, I just perform. I'm hungry. Like I didn't eat breakfast. I'm dying. And then, how they formally want you to eat like a different hand for each cup. I'm like, even know half the stuff.
Yeah, and you're holding the cups and
yeah,
it'd be like that sometimes. But I mean, I just remember I need to actually tell one of my Hooshas how to prepare because when we go out to California, their families are going to be more traditional. So she's going to have to learn how to say the words back to the family too. But two of my Hooshas, they know what to say now. So one gets very nervous still, but then the other one, I have to prepare her still because I'm going out to California soon to do back-to-back ceremonies, 3 days. So it's gonna be a lot, but I think it'll be nice to just see my clients again because I haven't seen them since last year when they came out here. But no, definitely. Ceremonies can be very easy. I definitely agree when you just have a lot of people ask me about the raising of their shrines, right? I always advise have people who will support you on your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the kind of people you want to surround yourself with, and you want them there to not just because they're using their energy and they're cleaning and cooking, right? But also because, you don't need that bad juju. You would rather have people who are actually, they want what's better for you or they want you to be better, That's also very, very important. But you can keep it as intimate as you want, or you can invite the whole family. It's really, I know some ceremonies I've been to, there's so many grandpas there. I'm just like, I thought people only have 4 max. Who are all these extra grandpas? It is the brothers of the grandpas. And I'm like, oh my God. And then they have more people there than at their own wedding. And I'm just like, This is just a simple ceremony. But they have tents out and everything.
Yes.
So there are those very traditional. But I also think it's beautiful when they have so many people because I've been to many ceremonies where there are a lot of family members. So it's so nice, but you are cooking a lot more food. A lot more food.
I think if you could afford it and if it's a normal thing for you guys, it's totally fine. But if it's preventing you, or even if you feel like you don't really have a lot of family support and it's okay to informally ask a shaman the way you know how to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't have that family support, still seek out the healing, just don't hinder yourself from getting healing for the small stuff. I feel like you should still properly call a shaman from your heart, and as long as your intention is pure, that shaman will most likely not care that you're not doing it correctly or like formally, you know?
Yeah, I do agree. Ceremonies can be as easy as possible, even if it is catering, and it is from Panda Express. But it's just because that's my sister, I can make a request.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree. And it's always good to just be open about what you do and don't know. I have a lot of clients who come and they don't really know the proper way of doing things. So they just outright tell me, and they tell me, can you please tell us when we need to do something, or because they just genuinely don't know. And it's okay. You can definitely seek out those shamans who are willing to work with you, and they're not going to talk or make fun of you because you don't know, or they'll say no to you. But is it good to learn? Yes. And that's when it's good to tell the shaman right away, so the shaman can tell you, well, traditionally this is what you do, so that you do learn too at the same time. But it's okay if you don't know it. I do agree with you on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, traditionally the families had to provide the Hoosha, but then what I've discovered is that, especially with Nengxia, a lot of times there are times where we are speaking Hmong, but they can't understand us, or we are not speaking Hmong, so they really can't understand us. So it's a lot more nerve-wracking for the families to find a Hoosha, So usually every lineage will be different. So that's why I provide the Hoosha service if I can. But, in the future, if ever I can't, then, you are going to have to provide that person. And I think that talking to that shaman the day of, like, what do I need to look out for? What are the words? Because then that's literally what the Hoosha does the whole time, just standing there watching you. But it's very boring. But, like, I would say my Hooshas are very used to me and my style. And they kind of know the things that I will tend to do because they've watched me for so long now, which I'm very thankful for. But definitely, I think that sometimes people get nervous about having to provide a Hoosha as well.
I didn't even know that.
Oh,
I didn't even
yeah?
know that traditionally they're supposed to provide you a Hoosha. I just thought that usually you either bring your spouse or you bring your own person that knows how you need things done, Yeah.
And, I would say that I'm pretty lenient on my Hooshas too. Like, so that they can really help me, it just because I know where their shortcomings are and my shortcomings are, so that way we can work with each other. So I'm definitely a lot more lenient. And actually, I didn't even teach one of my Hooshas how to prepare my shrine until maybe a month ago. My other two Hooshas, they don't know how to prepare my shrines. Because then usually your Hoosha, when you get there to your clients, your Hoosha is preparing your shrine for you, and you're greeting the clients. And then that's when other elders or people are asking you for last minute services. So then all of a sudden you're ready to do it, But then I have been, I do have a control aspect too. So that I have been doing it a lot whenever I get to ceremonies. But I know, but my Kwane have been nagging me, like, your Hooshas should be knowing how to do this. And I'm like, I know. And then, like, sometimes when they yell, too, at my Hooshas, I'll be like, can you say it a little nicer?
Yeah.
But, yeah, no. So, usually, shamans, I found these days with newer age, we tend to provide our own Hooshas. But you never know. One day because they're telling me one day I'm going to have to do a ceremony without my regular Hooshas, huh? Good luck to whoever you are in the future.
Oh yeah, because
so my client will yell at you.
Yeah, they might not be able to fly with you out somewhere.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that.
Mm-hmm. But the good thing is, I'm raising students in different states. So if I have to go out there for a ceremony, I can ask one of my students to come and watch me.
Yeah.
You take note if you're listening. Teacher's gonna ask me one day to be her Hoosha.
Right.
Yeah.
But that must be nice though. Like to have someone in each state.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
She on a whole other
tired.
level.
No, I get tired though traveling. But they know that, like I wish I could just zap and be there, because the trip to California is bad. Okay. It's very hard to get a direct flight. You're usually having to like stop, somewhere, and then you got 30 minutes and you got to run across the airport and then, try to fly catch the next one. So if we didn't have all of that, it would be a lot easier going out to California.
Right.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Cheechee, for coming on. Yeah. I so appreciate just having you share your experience for everybody.
Thank you for having me. I'm like so happy we got to recap on like what happened 10 years ago and like yeah.
No, that's honestly, even though it was so long ago, I could still feel all of it. It's kind of like they're listing all these things like that I had to do, and I'm just like, oh. But it's funny though also because like a lot of times, I was talking about this in another video. I don't think it's come out yet, but you definitely, like, for me, whenever I wanting for clients, it's like this imprint where I always like have this connection. I feel them still. So that's how it is for me. I don't know if it's like that for you at all, but I have this like it's this connection.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain.
That's awesome because for me, I feel like sometimes my guides disassociate me a little too much.
Oh, yeah. Probably to like protect you.
Me. Yeah, because I think I'm just so emotionally attached sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not. That's why I said that. I was like,
yeah. Like you probably are able to like remember it and like not have like tie yourself to it. But for me, I think I'm just like too emotional where I tie like myself to that emotional experience or trauma with them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess it depends on who too though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you so much, Cheechee.
Yeah.
Until next time, you guys.
Bye.